What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. You guys have been knocking it out lately. We've had our subscribers jumping through the roof. We've hit almost 10,000 subscribers in the last week. It's been absolutely crazy on here. So shout out to all of our new subscribers. Shout out to everybody who comes here to watch these videos. We got to talk about manipulation in the election today. A little bit of controversy, a little bit of manipulation going on. Make sure after watching this video or during this video, even right now, go down below, hit that subscribe button. Censorship is at an all-time high. Mark Carney wants to censor everyone if he wins this election. Now is the time to follow all Canadian content providers for politics. Go and subscribe to their channels. Hit the bells for notifications, all notifications, so that you're alerted when new videos drop. Let's see if we can grow this channel. A lot of people saying that when we do our local meet and greet, May 10th, by the way, if you didn't know, if you're in the Edmonton area, we're going to do an Edmonton meet and greet, May 10th, a location still to be announced. So subscribe and stick around the channel for that announcement. A lot of people saying that could be a 100,000 subscriber celebration. I'm not so sure if we can hit another 30K between now and May 10th, but hey, let's see if we can make it happen. Hit that subscribe button, folks. I know a lot of shill there. A lot of pandering, but let's get into today's story because a lot of manipulation going on during this campaign, during this election. Pierre Poilievre is under attack. I can't play the clip from the CBC because I've already tried filming this video and immediately had a content ID strike coming from the CBC. They love to come out in full force and mute people. They don't want anybody sharing their media. They don't want anybody criticizing their media, just like Mark Carney. But the CBC essentially has come out saying Pierre Poilievre only allows us to ask vetted questions. They only take about 4 questions per press conference, and they typically give that to other media that maybe favors them. They have to vet questions because they don't want duplicates. They have to know who's asking the questions, and also they've been dealing with hecklers. I don't know if you guys know this, but Pierre has had hecklers from media outlets, including places like Sault Ste. Marie. They're really doing everything they can to make him look like Donald Trump. People have been criticizing Pierre, saying, well, certain images, certain things aren't allowed into rallies. It's because they're making him look like Donald Trump. They want him to be associated with Trump so bad so that the Liberals can continue with their TDS syndrome. I don't think there's any stopping it. I don't think there's any way you can villainize Pierre between now and the election. This guy's on fire. This guy, I am convinced, is going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Here we go. Pierre Poilievre says he will respect the results of the election. This is, some reporters have said, they don't trust the polls. We don't trust the polls. They're bullshit. We all know they're bullshit. I'm going to get to why later in this video. But this is the problem with liberal media and people who vote for the Liberals. They want to villainize. Oh, when have we ever seen a candidate in this country not respect the results of an election? First off, that's a red flag, because when they're asking those questions, it makes me wonder, why are you asking such a question if we have free and fair elections in this country? Is there something that's going on in the background? Are we going to see a little bit of tampering going on in this election? Are we going to see a little bit of shenanigans? It's yet to be seen. But why would you ask such a question if that wasn't the plan? Let's take a listen to the clip just for context.
Who don't believe the polls. Do you believe the polls, and can you commit today that you will respect the results of the election no matter the outcome?
Yes, and that decision will be based on whether, after a lost Liberal decade of rising crime and costs and a falling economy under America's thumb, we can afford a 4th Liberal term, or whether we want change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, stop crime, unleash our resources so we can bring home our jobs and stand up to Washington from a position of strength. Thank you.
So this is why Pierre's people vet who's asking questions and what's going on. They're painting a picture about Pierre. They want him to look like a villain. They want to Trumpify Pierre Poilievre. Now, I do my Donald Trump voice, but people have said, stop it. Stop doing the Trump. We won't bring that in. We'll save those for live streams. What's funny about Mark Carney is that they criticize saying, are you going to accept the results of the election? Yet, take a look at this. You remember last week, hopefully, the live stream from Pierre Poilievre's rally in Edmonton. He's had rallies in Sault Ste. Marie. Look at his rally in Windsor. People were talking about the lineup of people going into Mark Carney's rallies, but one of those rallies was actually people lining up apparently to share their dismay with Mark Carney. I know channels like MCGA or Make Canada Great Again have been out full force undercover. He was the one responsible for screaming out about island visits during one of Carney's rallies. And again, shout out to MCGA. He does great work. Go give him a follow as well. Follow everybody. Follow everybody. Let's get all your news in one place from these great content providers. Matthew Antonidi. I want to talk about this guy. He's sharing what happened in Windsor, and a lot of people are going to say, why are you talking about a guy named Matthew Antonidi? I want to show the clip first, and then we're going to get into it. Let's take a look. Wow, the scenes tonight in Windsor at the Pierre Poilievre, Anna Poilievre rally for workers, changes on the way, vote conservative. Take a look at these crowds. If you thought Edmonton was big, look at this. Look at this room. This has to be the same size, if not slightly larger, than what Edmonton had. Look at thousands. Thousands. I don't know about you guys, but does that look like more than 15,000 people? In Windsor, Ontario, where Mark Carney is supposedly going to absolutely demolish Pierre. Does this shock anybody? Yet this is why they want to make him look like Trump, because they don't like the size of these rallies. They say, does size matter? Of course it matters. It's an election. Votes matter. The size, in fact, it does matter. But let's talk about Matt Antonidi, at Matt_Antonidi. Save that screenshot. If you're on X, I have a favor to ask you guys. I've reached out to Matt Antonidi many times. I talked to him off and on. Matt Antonidi is Pierre Poilievre's assistant. He's his number one assistant, the right-hand man, the guy in the background. Now, I'm not here to dox Matt, and I'm not here to put him out on notice. I've asked Matt several times to get Pierre on this channel. I want to talk to Pierre Poilievre and show his human side. What got him into politics? What made him from a young age want to get into politics? We don't want to talk any Trump stuff. We don't want to talk. We know the policies. We know the slogans. Much like Miss Gonzalez's interview with him and Anna earlier this week, I want to sit down with Pierre and show his human side, have a friendly, nice, relaxed chat to get him more familiarized with people. I think that would be great. I think it would be great for his image. There's going to be no shock value over here, no name calling, no anything. I know Matt sometimes thinks that because the channel is called Unacceptable Fringe, it's not going to look good for Pierre. I beg to differ. Follow Matt on X if you're watching this video. Go follow him. Tag at UnacceptFringe in your tweets with a hashtag maybe Pierre for Fringe or something along those lines. And let's tell Matt that a sit down with Unacceptable Fringe would be the best thing for Pierre, next to sitting down with a guy like the pleb. I think we could really help Pierre's numbers. So go and follow Matt. Nicely ask him. Nicely. I don't want to cause Matt any problems. We don't want to bombard him. Ask nicely. Hey, can you get Pierre on the Fringe? Let's get him on the Fringe. Matt's got my contact information. He's a great guy, by the way. Really nice guy. I don't want to say anything nasty or make people think that I'm saying something nasty. Matt's a really nice guy. Head over and request to him, hey, sit down with the Fringe before the election. Let's get a one-on-one with Pierre. Let's talk a little shop. Let's talk about what makes him a reasonable human being. Who's not a reasonable human being is Mark Carney. Here's where he ran away. He ran away and hid because he can't handle those crowds. He can't handle the size of PPs, PP rallies. Mark Nixon tweeting out, Mark Carney just held a meeting with Trump's tariffs. What did we learn? Nothing. He's keeping the tariffs because they're helping his election campaign. He'll deal with Trump after the election once he's got the sheep's votes. It's always about the Liberals, never about Canadians, which is true. Take a look at the video here of Mark Carney umming and ahhing, giving his explanation. And people want to criticize, saying, well, Pierre doesn't talk to media. He shields the questions. He doesn't want to talk to the mainstream prostitutes. Well, this is why. Mark Carney doesn't even do it. He just says what he says and then walks away. And we've got more than one instance of that. Take a look here.
As you know, just convened the Canada-U.S. committee, had a good, long discussion on several aspects. The first is the general situation. In the last week, there have been a lot of developments in terms of U.S. tariff policy, reactions from others, including China, a really marked tightening in financial conditions, a slowing, the initial signs of slowing in the global economy, impacts that we're starting to see unfortunately in the Canadian economy, particularly in the Canadian labor market. We reviewed our response to those tariffs, our core strategy of to fight, to protect, and to build. We left instructions for officials to ensure that the next government, whichever government Canadians choose, will be in the best possible position for negotiations with the United States, which, as the President and I have agreed, will begin from the start of May. En français.
So it's just garble. It's just word salad. He just comes out and says, well, we all sat down and had a conversation. Yeah, that was worth getting off the campaign trail, wasn't it? That was worth getting off the campaign trail to talk about Donald Trump, right? Trump bad, Orange Man bad. No, this is, and again, we're going to see it in a clip here, the Liberal strategy. We'll just hide Mark Carney when things get a little too rough. When Pierre's getting a little too much steam, we don't want Mark lashing out at the Globe and Mail. We don't want Mark Carney saying things with his ums and ahs and turning people off. We'll just hide him. Again, there's a lot of speculation that Mark's not even going to participate in Thursday night's debate. Join me for that live stream, by the way. That's going to be fantastic. If Mark Carney doesn't show up, it's going to destroy any hope he has of being prime minister, because keep in mind, he called this election. If you're going to call an election and not show up at the only English-speaking debate, that's a huge red flag. Pierre's going to chew this guy up and spit him out. It's going to be fantastic. Join me for that live stream. But this is the strategy of the Liberals. Hide Mark Carney when things get to be too much and hope that there's enough Trump in the media to keep people at bay. Now, if you need further proof of that, let's take a look over here. Brian Lilly tweeting out. Boom, well said. This is over on Vashi. Even Vashi. Now, keep in mind, these are Liberal-funded news outlets. They can't even understand Mark Carney pausing his, I don't think you guys can see the quotations I made there. Pausing his campaign to supposedly go have coffee with everybody and talk about Donald Trump. Take a listen to this.
That with me saying, like, everyone there was kind of like, huh? What's going on? What is your read on what has sort of, I guess, unfolded, and if such a sort of suspension was actually necessary?
Well, the biggest advantage that Mr. Carney has in this election campaign is that he's the Prime Minister of Canada, and he gets to use and speak from the pulpit of the Prime Minister of Canada every time he goes out. But it's amazing, right? The Liberals love prorogation, whether it's a prorogation of Parliament or whether it's a prorogation of their campaign. But I said this last week, and I guess we're going to keep saying this until the end of the campaign. The Liberal strategy basically amounts to hide Mark Carney and hope and pray that Donald Trump makes the news in one way or another. It's been pretty lucky so far, but I think they've recognized what conservatives have recognized and what Canadians have recognized, which is Mark Carney sucks in front of a camera. He's not great, whether he's telling journalists to look inside themselves, whether he's repeating Justin Trudeau's line to the Globe and Mail by saying that you shouldn't believe things that are written in the Globe and Mail only for photographs to produce shortly afterwards with him with figures that are associated with the Chinese Communist Party. Point is, the guy, the more people see of him, the more he's in front of journalists. It's clear that he hasn't spent a lot of time doing this. Liberal strategists aren't any less intelligent than I or conservative strategists are. I think they've correctly identified that. And they've realized that it's a safer bet for them at this point in the campaign to bunker the guy, have him look prime ministerial, have him give a 1-minute statement to journalists that says absolutely nothing. Because, quite frankly, there's no reason that his campaign should have been suspended today, other than the fact that they believe that him campaigning for an additional day would have been detrimental to their cause.
Nails it. Like Brian Lilly says, boom. There's the mic drop. There's the Bryan Cranston gif next to it with the mic drop. This is the reason Mark Carney suspended the campaign. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with tariff threats. It has nothing to do with anything more than just hide Mark Carney. Where's Carney? What's funny is if you need any other further explanation, take a look at the pleb here. And shout out to the pleb. Not that he needs help, but go follow him if you haven't already. His live streams of Pierre's rallies have been absolutely phenomenal. It was good to run into him this week in Edmonton. Here's the pleb saying, Mark Carney gives a speech to his supporters in a parking lot and just walks away when it's done. This man hates his own people. He has zero qualities of a true leader. That is the best quote, but also true, because Mark Carney doesn't give a damn about the voters. He doesn't give a damn about Canadians. He's here for financial reasons. He isn't here for anything more than to tear our country to shreds. That's it. Take a look here. Take a look at what he does here. People saying that Pierre won't talk to reporters. Pierre won't answer questions. Oh, he just leaves. He's so busy. He walks away. Look at what Mark Carney does.
Send us to Ottawa to stand up for Canada, build a better country.
Yeah, don't shake anybody's hands. Don't acknowledge anybody. Just go with your mob. Run away. By the way, look at all the people here. Look at this what, 200 people, maybe. And then look at this. This and this. Size, does size matter? Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does, Mark. This is why they're hiding Mark Carney. They're hoping people are stupid enough to vote him in the election by hiding him, by making him look like Justin Trudeau, although a better version of Justin Trudeau for the liberal sheeple to vote him in. Anytime I've seen Rebel News or any of these outlets outside of Mark Carney rallies before his events asking people, why do you want to support Mark Carney? Especially in Ontario, they all say Trump, 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 Trump. It's all they say. These people have Trump derangement syndrome. And this is why I understand to a degree why Pierre mentions what Canada needs to do with its economics. Now, one of the good things about it is Pierre has admitted he doesn't want to focus on Trump. Because that's, and people are saying that's disastrous, including Stephen Harper's former advisors. But what Pierre says he wants to focus on is Canada. He wants to focus on people not being able to afford to eat. He wants to focus on people not being able to afford to pay their bills. They can't get housing. They're living in tents. There's illegal substances flowing through the country, people losing their family members. And while Mark Carney dodges his supporters, doesn't even shake any hands, Pierre Poilievre the other day, somebody fainted during his rally, and he left the podium to go and check if they were okay, and he hugged them and spoke with them. This guy gets it. This guy cares about Canadians. So the real question, ladies and gentlemen, comes down to who do you want running this country? Do you want a banker running this country who's here to line his pockets, or do you want an actual Canadian, Alberta born and raised, who actually gives a damn about what happens to you, your bank account, your economic future, in charge? Let me know your thoughts down below. Again, go and talk to Matthew on Twitter. He's going to hate me for this. Go and talk to Matthew on Twitter at Matt Antonidi. Let's bring that up again. Let's bring that up just so everybody's got that handle. Go talk to Matt Antonidi. Tell him the Fringe says hello. Nicely. We don't want to harass people. We don't want to... And tell him why it would be beneficial for Pierre to come on the Fringe, because he seems to think they need to keep an arm's length reach from this channel because of its name. Tell them we want to sit down with Pierre. Tell them it's a good idea. They've only been talking to me about it for the last 2 years and then completely changed course. Let's see if we can get Pierre on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, let me know your thoughts down below. If it's your first time here, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on your bell for all notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where I sit down with my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, as we go back and forth throughout everything that happened this week in politics, everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as back and forth within the greatest proven YouTube community on this entire platform. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say outside of making these videos, but I most importantly look forward to hearing what you have to say this Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. Don't forget to join me Thursday for the debate as well. Again, I'll have an announcement made for the times of that later this week. If you're in the Edmonton area, again, keep your eyes and ears to the tracks for an announcement for a venue for our May 10th meet and greet. It's going to be fantastic. I think you guys are going to love it. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.